Oh, okay. Okay, cool. So let's get started. So I'm going to just go over the courses and everything, the major elements related to the program, and I'll try to go faster and more brief on those, and so that to leave time for you guys to ask questions. And I'm going to share some slides. Let's see. Okay, can you all see?
Yes, I see it.
Okay, so we're number five. I forgot to mention last time in the biostatistic programs best according to U.S. News for the biostatistics. Um, so, and let's see, we're gonna go down. And so I'll give a little bit introduction of myself. So I'm the program director. I have been directing this program for 4 years, and I joined Emory in 2017, coming from University of Alabama, Birmingham, from their biostat department. And I really enjoy working with the masters and to see everybody transform from various background into a biostatistician. Angela, you want to say a little bit more about yourself? Oh, you're on mute, Angela.
Hi again. This is quite a hilarious way to introduce myself, but I'm Angela Ginyard. I am the Assistant Director of Academic Programs. I'm currently working with all three of the degree programs in biostatistics. And so nice to see y'all at noon. I hope you have your lunch and you're going to engage with this conversation and ask plenty of questions.
Yeah, so let's move on. And then, so this is basically the major components of our program. And you're going to learn the statistic theory. We have two courses for both MPH and MSPH. We have our statistical methods courses we can talk about. And we also have the science courses that every department in the public health school contribute one course, introductory course, to get everybody educated on what's public health. And then our major component is practice that has your thesis capstone, individual project, and there's also required practicum, also called applied practice experience, APE. And some students also take on some other research RA projects. So this is the grain the elements is a big piece in our program for practice. Given that our programs are professional programs, so practice is the key. And so this is the required course alignment for, oh no, I'm sorry, this is the year one required course, not everything. And you can see MPH, MSPH pretty much in parallel. You have your theory one, theory two, like probability inference, and then you have the methods, and then you have regression. You said the only difference between MPH and MSPH is the mathematical rigor, because the MSPH are mostly for students who already had an undergrad in mathematics or statistics major. So they will be bored in the math lighter courses, and vice versa, the people who have weaker mathematics and find it more too difficult for the MSPH courses. So that's the difference. In terms of the course content, mostly very similar. And all, of course, the programming, the SAS is required, but now we're working on to be, it can be replaced by R. And also in the year one, everybody takes the epidemiology method. This is very important for people to understand population studies. And then move on to year two, And so there are methods courses on survival, on longitudinal, or a different name. They are the similar things. And the key is the practice courses. There are two of them. So for one, everyone has to take it for one semester. And for two, there is a separation for choosing thesis or capstone. So capstone goes in a class, but thesis is longer and just work with the individual biostatistical faculty member. So those are the courses for the two programs in 2 years. And then there are a lot of elective courses and for people to choose. And because we don't have tracks or various distinctions of directions, so there are many different directions courses you can choose. And some people like the map-based, the GIS study, or some people like more computation. Of course, other programs. And clinical trial is still a popular thing. And of course, we have a bunch of students like bioinformatics. You can see the orange classes in bioinformatics. And there are some machine learning, SQL, and those are related to our data science certificate. I'll talk about in a little bit. And there are more methodology courses like deeper dive for students interested in more methods in depth. So we have advanced courses as elective too. So there are other things that you can choose, but those are some like key courses our students find important for their degree, their interest. So I want to talk about the practice courses. So we are proud that we have a very strong practice aspect for students to get them ready for their next step in their career. So this listed some major activities in the two practice courses. You can see practice one is a combination of lecture, group activity, external presentation, those type of a course structure, and mainly talking about how do you start a project and what's consulting, how do you communicate with the people, what's the best practice, and programming, how to document your program well, what's the best way to do programming. And we also have like homework and lectures on how to make beautiful tables, how to make beautiful figures, all of those. Of course, we also invited some kind of like headhunters or interview managers, hire managers to talk about how they hire people and what they look for in people in terms of related fields for finding a job, or in their sense is finding people. So that's practice one for everyone in the two programs. And practice two is only for the capstone people. It's one semester course. So everyone in the class has to find a biostatistics faculty member to work on independent research project. Most of the projects are data analysis, various directions. And there are some methodology projects and also software building or package. These are all fine. But at the same time, the students come into the class, talk about their progress, presenting their results, and submit their documentation, we call research journal, and their code to get graded. The idea is to develop good habits for post-graduation. Regardless of what you do, you got to have good documentation and good coding, good presentation, good communication skills. And we also do elevator pitches on self-introduction on their projects, other than scientific presentation on their projects. So those are more related to skills. You have hard skills, programming. You have soft skills, communication, and on various fronts. So these are the key aspect. And I have to see everybody has to do a poster, and we have a big event coming up. So I summarize here the required projects. And so because everybody talks about what's a capstone, what's an APE, what's a thesis, what's a capstone, what's the difference? So I basically put it here. And then an APE is a supervised professional practice. When you think about you go out to work on internship, on volunteer or anything related to your profession. And that's called a professional practice. And there is an hour requirement, about 200 hours. It can be paid, it can be non-paid, it can be on campus, it can be off campus, it can be out of country. So, and this is a formal thing. There is a portal, you have to write down the goals, the deliverables, and everything. And then you have to be approved before you start, before your clock starts. And so students can start on APE after one semester in the program. So you can't start from day one, you have to start after your first semester. And thesis capstone is different. It's more like research oriented. You have to work with someone in the BIOS faculty. And it's about one semester or two semesters plus a summer, depends on thesis or capstone you choose. Capstone is shorter, more intensive. I mean, during the short period, a thesis is longer and more working closely with your advisor during a longer period. So, and then for the thesis and capstone, we ask for keeping good documentation, good codes, good report, doing poster, oral presentation. Those are the elements related to the research, and then the thesis capstone part. So you can see the two aspects are different. And so most students, do two things at the same time, and they could start their APE early or during the same time. So you already have two projects. And then some student, typically student do 2 to 3 projects, like the two we already mentioned, APE and thesis or capstone. And some students tend to, based on their interest, they like to take one more on, like as a RA, which is fine, and to broaden your experience. But we always encourage students to do things that are related to biostatistics, and regardless is whether data cleaning, organization, like database, or anything. It doesn't have to be statistical analysis, but it's data related. And those are all good projects. I try to discourage people from taking on too many, because if you spread too thin, then you don't have a deeper understanding on any of them. And you want breadth and depth. So 2 to 3 is a good number, and do them really well and have a good understanding, and you can talk about with knowledge. And that's the key. And let's see. Oh, I want to see that our capstone class, the grading is based on, not only based on your work, but also based on your professional traits. So 50% of the grades will come from your advisor, and they grade on your motivation, 5 points, your independence, 5 points, your coding skill, 5 points, and your timeliness. You see all those professional traits. And so by doing this, we want to encourage students to get ready for a professional world. even if you want to go on to further education, these professional qualities will eventually benefit everyone. So we really emphasize on those soft skills and professional traits. So data science certificate. So we have started a data science certificate. And so on top of the 2 degrees, you can take some required courses. And then we listed 4 here. And you can see there are programming is essential. And there is a toolkit and your machine learning and some current topics on data science. Basically, this is about how to do the next couple of them. And so the one more elective course, 102 needed for the certificate. And there is a very important experience piece is that your AP and capstone or thesis needs to have an element of data science. I give you an example. A dashboard is good, a package, or a website. Those more informatics has more informatics elements than a traditional biostatistics work. Like you do a test, you get a few plots, a table. That's more traditional biostatistics. If you can make a motion picture, or you can make a like RShiny or a website, those belong to the data science element. So currently, we have about half of our students involved in the data certificate. And this certificate is not just for BIOS students. They're for everyone in the school. Therefore, for a lot of courses, there are 2 versions, one for BIOS students, one for non-BIOS students. So that's just to make sure everyone gets their courses and that match their background. So this is a popular, so we don't have a degree yet, but this is a popular certificate right now. And I want to move on to, you probably have heard about our REAL program, Rollins Earn and Learn. And this is a very unique program. And then basically, the students who are awarded REAL get paid for about $3,000 per semester. And by doing research or whatever, eligible work, you can see anything that someone wants to pay you, can pay you, and then they only need to pay half of the $15 per hour. So the school will pay the other half. So that gives you an advantage in looking for those. And another advantage is that especially for international students, your F1 status limits you to work on campus only. But this program has external partners. You can work for external partners without a problem. And you're still considered being employed at Emory because it's a collaboration. It's a partnership. So I want to see here and some of our neighbors, and we work together a lot, especially through the REAL program. And you can see our neighbor. If you come on campus, you see their big building right next to our parking lot. And we have American Cancer Society, the Carter Center. It's not too far. I had a student working for in the Carter Center during her years here. The CARE and also the Task Force for Global Health. And those are some of our partners. And those are the famous ones. And we have a lot of others, like in Atlanta. So this really gives you some exposure to outside experience through the program, and it's a much smoother process, and you don't have to get like special going through their HR or whatever. But some regulations still apply. For example, if you work with the CDC, any onboarding credentials you still need to do. So one thing I want to emphasize is that we really we really work on the career development in the department and also in the school. So in our department, so we know that some students want to do a PhD afterwards. So we do regularly like PhD consultation on how to apply. Like we have videos of those, like consideration of doing a PhD. Why do you want to do it? What's the elements you need to consider? And if you decide to apply, what's the process? And we have like a student panel discussion, PhD student panel discussion. We also have the PhD program directors discussion, like how they admit their PhD students. So we have a large collection of videos on the events we had. And then, so the APE is a good time. So we sort of try to help a student how to demonstrate professionalism. And then we had some in-class discussion. You remember we have two practice class. So in every class we'll have discussions about career. We had a lot of like our alumni presentation on what they're doing, what's important, what they wish they had paid attention during their years in BIOS. Job search interview, we will have the career office people to come to discuss how do you answer questions in an interview. And then technical presentations. So what questions do people tend to ask? We even have documents, a collection of those. And salary negotiation, emotional stability, all of those are very good presentations that we work with our career office to offer our students. Like talking about career office, we have an outstanding career office in our school, and they do career fairs, as you can imagine, like they do online, in person. This is what they did this year. And they offer lifetime career coaching. And a lot of our alumni come back to see, hey, it's my next stage of my career. So can you give me some ideas, or, what should I do? So they do that. And they also work very closely with the employers. They will survey them to see, what type of employee do you want? What type of students do you want us to educate and produce, basically? And then this is the most recent answer from our employers. Their dream employee is on the professional traits: communication, problem solving, creativity, growth mindset, adaptability, emotional intelligence, self-awareness, professionalism, work ethic, assertiveness, self-advocacy. So technical skills. You see, technical skills is listed at the last. So that doesn't mean that it's not important. It's essential. But once you have the required technical skills, all of those are super important in when they try to find someone, and super important for your promotion, your next job, all of those. So we keep this in mind when we structure the program and activities. And then they do a lot of other things, like the career office has workshops on various topics. And then they have a dedicated time for you to make appointment to see them for advising. You have a special problem or you have a special goal in your life, and you can make appointment to talk to them. Our current students, when they utilize them, they find that they are super useful. Of course, some students will think, oh, I don't think they're useful, so therefore I don't go. So they will not know how useful they are. Um, and they have a rolling employer information sessions, and they will feature some, every time. And they also try to incorporate into their material into classrooms. You see this BIOS. We always invite Roger Presswood to come to talk. He is a wonderful, dynamic presenter, tell you exactly what is good to see, what is not good to see, what's a good answer, what's not a good answer. So, and they are outstanding. Okay, so that's about the program various aspects. So now I want to move on to the research and then the faculty members in our department. And we have 37 full-time primary faculty member, and we also have 4 very active secondary faculty members in the human genetics department. And we have many others affiliated to our department. And so the 37 plus 4, those are the members that we ask our students to choose to work on their thesis or capstone. And the others, you can work with them on EPE, on various things. But for the thesis and capstone, we want to work with this 41 faculty members just to make sure that everyone has the same standard, the professional requirements. And then I'm gonna go through our faculty really fast, just to give you a taste of what kind of things they work on. So if you you have a mathematics background, you want to do something really and a little bit theoretical with a lot of methodology, and we have people and they are famous in the field for their methods. So, and they work on survival analysis, biomarker, and so you can search for their name. They're very famous. They have their special methods, and they are really good on that. And if you're interested in bioinformatics, we have strong bioinformatics faculty members, and on various omics, Dr. Qin, and spatial proteomics, if you're familiar with that word, single cell, and those, they work on various topics. As I said, we have 4 members from human genetics. And if you think about genetics mapping, genetic risk factors, and the EQTL, if you know that word, and we have everybody covers. And this is mapping, DNA methylation, genome-wide DNA methylation. This is the eQTL or various type of QTL. This is gene expression and transcriptome. So they are all covered. And we have our infectious group. And when you think about the COVID, HIV, and flu, and our faculty members are very active in this area in both methods and applications. And mental health is big when you think about Alzheimer, dementia, sleeping pain, PTSD, and those type of brain related. And we have a strong group. And our chair, Dr. Rob Crafty, he works with wearables. if you're interested in Apple Watch, Fitbit, and the data, and also sleeping and those type of things, and he is the expert on that. And if you're interested in brain imaging, like what's happening in the brain, what does it tell us from the image? We have our very strong neuron image group, and they have a center. They organize national meetings, and so that's our image group. And of course, if you're interested in environmental health and some epi study, like pollution, like pests, happening somewhere, rats or bats, what's happening around the country, in what area, in which elevation. And this is our map-based research group. And so they teach GIS courses. And then, well, I should move this to at the beginning. And then they are very mathematical and theoretical on causal inference. So how do you infer causal relationship not using clinical trial? We all know clinical trial can give you causal information because you have randomization. What if you don't have that? You have observational data. And then they work on methods, try to infer that causal relationship. We have our clinical trial group. You can see that they work on various phases, phase 2, phase 3, different areas, the trials. We have a big cancer center, and these are our cancer people, and they work on various aspects, the trial, the observational study, and everything. So they work in with the Cancer Institute, everything on cancer. And this is like our core directors. So I didn't tell you that I'm a core director at our local Atlanta VA Medical Center. So I direct their data analytics core. I have 3 team members in the VA, and mostly work with the VA electronic health records and their trials. And then Dr. Hanfeld work with our CTSE and directing the biostatistics and EpiCore. And we also have our Azar leading our department's collaboration core. So all those provide opportunities for students to work in different areas. And we have a bunch of people working on cardiovascular. It is big on Emory campus, and various aspects, surgery, the outcomes, and epidemiology study. So if you're interested in cardiovascular, you can join those group. Brain Institute. Emory currently is big on the brain study. So there is an institute. We have 2 faculty members in our department embedded in the Brain Institute. So if you're interested in anything related to their initiative, and you can work with these 2 people. As I said, data science is our new thing. And of course, everybody can contribute, but Dr. Ben Kesser is our lead on that effort. And we have various other people teaching courses or doing data science related work. Oh, that's all. Okay, so questions. And now just ask anything. Like we have 20 minutes about just, ask any question on your mind related to your career goal, related to the setup of the program, or how these 2 meet. So I'm gonna stop sharing the.
We have a question in the comments.
Okay.
Regarding neuroimaging group, could you tell me about their focus? Like, On mouse, rat, or human? Okay.
Yeah, they focus on human, the MRI, and the functional MRI. And I know they are related to mental health, like how to predict Alzheimer or dementia, early. And you do a brain image analysis basically to see which area lights up when is a sign for later on the development of like Alzheimer or yeah, other things later on. So that's their focus.
Okay, have another question. The real program is some positions we can find on school's website.
Um, so yes, so the school has a job board like a 1220, and if you log on, and then they will tell you if someone posts, they will see um, require real. Then that means only the real people are eligible, and some will see real preferred, or they don't see anything. And even if they don't see anything, if you have real, you still apply. They will be pleasantly surprised. They're like, oh, I only need to pay you half, especially for the on campus jobs. For off campus, they know exactly. Um, they want real, they can only work with like F1 students through real, and but they can work with the domestic students, real or not real. That's what I think.
But you also don't necessarily have to see a job description posted. If you know of some place you want to work or you've got a collaborative effort, you may take that opportunity and it can be approved. Now, there is a process, but it doesn't take that long. So you would take your opportunity to the career center and they would go help you get through the hoops, so to speak, not bad, but so that that opportunity may still be available to you. And students are encouraged to do that. You don't have to wait to see what's posted. If you know of something that you want to do and they agree to it, it's still possible.
Yep. So let's move on to the next one is are there opportunities to take courses or work with faculty in other departments? Yes. And let me talk about the work with the faculty. A lot of our students work with the faculty members in other departments, in public health, or with people in medical school or anywhere, or even with in the art and sciences. And for taking courses, um, I'll let Angela and Catherine because I'm less clear on the policies.
Sure. Students can take, well, of course, students can take courses in other departments. We do ask that students receive, most of us have it where students must receive permission to take the courses. And just because you have to ask permission, it's still highly encouraged that you do so because we want you to be a well-rounded student when you leave. I know at the PhD level, I've reiterated it, I don't know, 1,000 times, is that it's nice to find out what complements your education. Now, one of the most challenging programs or schools to enroll in for the most part would be courses that are associated with the college, meaning the undergrads. That has been the most challenging and difficult to try to register for outside of Rollins. Catherine, you want to add anything?
Yeah, actually, the thing is that because we have a lot of dual degree programs of which
Mhm.
which we are not engaged in, we have a lot of collaborative uh, classes with the law school, with the business school, with the Candler School of Theology, with the physician assistants, with the graduate school. And if you get permission from the instructor, which is usually just an email, and they may ask you, well, do you have the prerequisites for the course, which of course you can then answer. usually our students are able to then enroll. So it goes by time zones, but students are encouraged to explore courses at other colleges as well as in other departments.
Yeah, I'll just give you an example. Our instructors receive requests from students in other schools, other colleges, and every semester they have some students like not our own students. Similarly, you can imagine how it goes if you want to take courses in other schools.
Right.
And yeah, you just have to contact the instructor.
Well,
That's
but
the first thing.
the one college that generally we are not able to have students take classes in is the School of Medicine. And that is because they do not have classes. The medical program is so programmed that it is so intense. It does not, if you don't have the prerequisites, the only way you can get the prerequisites probably is to be a medical student. So that is the one school that we really have very limited opportunities.
Yeah, I remember they have sessions like 4 week on this special thing and then just
Yeah.
rolling very intensive. They don't line up with like semester by semester that way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Let's see. What's our next one? Real is offered when we got admitted. So these days, okay, there has been like a change over years. So the years I remember very clearly was lottery at first year, lottery at second year, and now is what? So Angela, do you know what's the current system?
Listen, I'm becoming familiar with the real program myself. I apologize for that. I did put a link in there to the real program. If I'm not mistaken, last time, and I apologize to you guys, I'm transitioning to working with master's students. So by the time you get here, I definitely will know. But last time I had been intimately involved, I don't think you could get real your first semester, but I'm going to look that up while y'all continue to talk to make sure because I want to at least give you an answer to it.
No,
I did put a
you can
link
get
to
real the first semester.
it's now
Oh,
the first semester. Thank you,
Yes,
okay.
Catherine.
but not
And
APE, but real. But the thing about it is that the rules have changed as to how the lottery is applied. And they've changed in the past 2 years or so, and that's since I'm an emeriti, that's after my existence. So I don't know.
And so I would also want to see that if you don't have a real, not a big deal, because I work with the students working with other departments, students without real. I mean, if you do a good job, between $7 or $8 an hour is not a big concern, right? Someone would like to pay $15 per hour for someone without real, but really good versus someone who is not that good, but save like $7 per hour. I mean, yeah, it's not a huge deal. So, yeah.
I found the answer.
Oh, you did. Great.
And I'm going to put a link to it. But there is a page that talk about applying for real. For domestic students, you do have to submit a FAFSA form. But for international students, it also addresses that you can apply for real after you are admitted. Um, your award will be sent by the Office of Admission to all admitted international students.
Okay.
So, yes, and I'm going to put a link there. I also put a link in the chat. I hope you all saw it earlier of the data science certificate program, Synquis courses, since we talked about that a little bit as well. Okay.
I had a question about the applied experiences. So you mentioned how, there's like a minimum requirement of 200 hours. Is there like a certain, like, are we supposed to have like, are we supposed to find an experience to be signed off to make sure that it fits the criteria or it fits that kind of experience? And how does like kind of the career department or the career office help us find applied experience opportunities?
Um, So there every year when it's about time, there will be a event. We have a director for APE in the department, one faculty member in charge of it. And then you have to apply, then he will look at it to see whether it's a good opportunity for you or not. And he will start the process by like talking to students how to find, and how to talk to previous students, right? You always find a lot of information to talk to like the older students and then how they found. And if you just randomly find one and you can ask whether it's mostly will be fine. But if it's a reception desk job, it won't, right? So that's just the the criteria. And you can also, if you're interested in, let's see, a particular field of public health or health, reach out to the faculty, to the people in that field, just to see do they have opportunities, and keep following up because opportunities come and go, right? Especially like Emory has a lot of research project, Carter Center, CDC. It's that when opportunity come up, they will need someone. And just to keep, especially you have a specific interest, lock down some places, some people, and keep following up with them. They may not have one, they may not answer your email right away, but when something come up, they may reach out to you, hey, are you still looking, right? It's like I would say it's like a dating, like a thing. It's not arranged marriage. It's like a dating thing. So like that's how I would put it. And the department doesn't arrange a lot of things because this is also a training on how to for students to be proactive, to develop those professional like traits, right? If we arrange everything, students wouldn't have opportunity to practice like how to look for opportunity, how to be proactive, actively reaching out to people. So that's a sort of on purpose. So we just see, okay, you should do this way, this way, this way. We're teaching like fishing, but we don't give you fish. That's pretty much, yeah.
And then what would you say is like the split between paid applied experiences versus non-paid? Is there like a rough estimate you could give?
I'm, well, so I have not looked at the but based on the students I know, maybe half. Yeah, maybe half. I don't know. Yeah, the students I worked with, maybe half were paid, half were unpaid. Yeah,
I think it's important to share that you do have the potential of utilizing if you have the real award, to count towards your APE.
yeah,
So if that helps a little bit, it's definitely challenging to put like the percentage of who gets paid versus who is true in a true practicum experience and not receiving funding. But there are students who do the real and utilize it towards your APE.
yeah.
And also for the Applied Practicum Experience program, everyone, there is a whole manual. I think somebody had a question, I apologize, about whether or not you can have more than one experience. It might be a situation where your initial APE project, it doesn't last as long. So you may have to move on to a second experience to complete the 200 hours. So being limited to one, no. Ideally, it would be great because you might be able to establish a relationship with that individual, but no, it's not limited to one. And Andrew, I want to go back to sort of your question about career services. A lot of the positions that are here on campus, or even when our community partners reach out, are located in a database you're going to hear a lot, which is called 1220. Now, one of the things with career services that It is my desired goal as I start working also with the master's students, or I have started working with the master's students, that we become more engaged in utilizing the services of career services, because they have a lot of amazing programs that they do, from networking, interviewing skills. They even weekly set up on the bridge and have open hours. They have huge career fairs. So it's a two-way street. You also need to plug into what they offer, because they offer a lot. They're consistently developing programs and doing outreach to assist students. But of course, you would have to take the reins and move towards looking for the position, if that makes sense. But they have amazing tools. I'm impressed by the tools that they have here.
So
And
Chen Chen,
resources.
there's a question here regarding the number of students that go into the PhD programs, how successful our students are, which is very, very important.
Yeah.
Because,
Well,
and also the fact we've always had like 100% employment or transition to PhD programs. So can you please address that?
yes, I will. So, so I put the information in the document that Angela sent you in the department letter. So I strongly encourage you to look at, it's called FAQ, frequently asked questions. And it's a long document, but look for like, I think 12, 13 or somewhere. It talks about the PhD application. And another one talks about job placement for people who didn't go on to. So, and you have to remember that the school sends a surveys out, right? And then not everybody answers, and not everybody answers at a given time. So I have experience with the students I worked with, and I can talk to people. So our survey is not like not clean data, right? Not you would imagine like each person what happened, like observational study. It's not like that. And so we have patches of information, and you can look at the FAQ. And I also want to tell you about my experience. So the job market has cooled down in the past 2 years. Like the before that, all my students, I usually supervise a few students, depends on years, a year. So, and then that time is like everybody had a job before they graduated. Someone had like multiple offers. But for the past year, and then the job market was tight. And you can try to figure out the reason. But what my observation was that the students who demonstrate professionalism, I mean the good professional traits, I looked at them on LinkedIn, they all found good jobs. So because I teach capstone and practice, I have a good sense of who does really well. And in terms of demonstrating those very good professional traits, like, being proactive, being motivated, do things, very nicely. And I look their name up, they got jobs. But I didn't look up like everyone. I know a couple of my students didn't get jobs. I mean, they were not the most like proactive or professional student, because I picked up some who didn't find a job, or who didn't find who didn't find a project early enough. So I can't tell you like what percentage exactly, but what I can tell you is that when the job market is good, everybody got jobs. When the job market cools down, the good ones get. The good one not means you're a straight A student. You have a lot of, I listed the dream employee, those skills, and you demonstrate, you can give them examples how you demonstrate those good qualities. And those students tend to find the jobs. That's what I can tell you.
Didn't we kind of figure out as far as the PhDs that we figured is like around 20% of our master students decide to go on to get their PhDs. And Angela, you've talked about how many actually go on to in Emory.
Yeah, we have a
Can you-
list in the document. If you don't have the document, ask Angela. She will
Yes, we
send you
have
another one. Yeah,
yeah,
and
we
a
have an
list,
FAQ.
everything.
We have an FAQ, but as far as we do have applicants who apply from the MPH and MSPH program every single year. And we have students, there's at least one student, if not more than one. In that document you received with the FAQs, there was more than one that was admitted to our PhD program. So it is definitely opportunities there. I believe that for next year, I can't give those stats out yet because we're still in recruitment until April 15th. But I am 125% sure there will be at least one student from our current program. So we do have students who apply and also get admitted.
Oh, so so it's in it's in Angela's email. So you have said can't download the FAQ from the website. Angela
Uh-uh.
sent you an
It's a
email.
different document, yes. Yuhan, I'll email it to all the registrants again, okay?
Right, email the
Okay.
FAQ, and then because if I tell you, I may say things wrong. I may remember it wrong. So I had all the data listed in there.
Let
Uh,
me
right.
keep talking. Let me see if I can pull it up right now. Go ahead and keep talking. Let me see if I can get the FAQ.
Any other questions?
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to be placed in the chat.
For those who might say, might not have like a strong background in, programming or statistics, how should we prepare, or are there like specific kind of, teaching styles that professors have, so that, people aren't necessarily behind or not necessarily, yeah, behind in the class?
So I guess your question is about how to prepare for a successful program here, or for a successful PhD application if you are aiming for a PhD.
Mainly just like classroom wise, like for
Oh, oh,
MPH.
I would say brush up on your calculus. And, let's see in the summer and review your calculus, if you have, if you had your calculus 10 years ago, right? And review the contents on those. If you're in the MS program, your linear algebra, and get familiar with those because they will come into play really fast. Yeah, I would just see, get your, brush up on your math. That's the others are a little bit easier. It's just that the theory class, a lot of students find kind of difficult. Especially people who had a weaker mathematics background to start with, or people had taken the courses a long, long time ago. Yeah. I mean, MSPH, the theory class, yeah, you take it together with the PhD student, they need everything right. Yeah, so.
But I think the other thing is that the department itself is a very congenial department that wants people to be successful. So if you, I mean, like in my mind, the help is available. I mean, the tutoring is available, the PhD are available for that, as well as the faculty members are willing to help. And so I think that's the biggest thing is don't if you're feeling like in the beginning things may be a little bit, challenging because it's a new environment, do not suffer in silence. People are
Right.
there to help you. They want you to have a successful experience, and it's always that way. It is a very tight-knit department that is there to work with you and for you.
Thank you for saying that, Catherine, because I totally agree. And I'll speak to this. I hope that everyone understands. I too come from a culture where you don't always express when you are having challenges or meeting challenges. That's just how I was raised, and you kind of keep it there. But that's not healthy. That's not a healthy way. And so I always say to students, and have always said to students, we can't help if we don't know. That's what I'm here for, and that's what Dr. Shui is here for. We're all, Catherine, even though she's going to leave us soon, that's what we're here for, to find out where the challenges are, whether they're academic, and sometimes they're not academic, but we can point you to the right resource when it's not academic in scope. But yes, so we're here to help you. Your peers are here to help you. And just to also let everybody know that as far as we hear a lot of for individuals who are in a master's program, not having a great understanding of how to apply or submit a PhD applications, other PhD students in the program are willing to assist with that. So one thing that BIOS prides itself on, and other departments comment on, is that we have a strong sense of community here.
Yeah, and compared to our faculty size, our programs are relatively small in terms like each one has like 20, 30, the MSPhD, MPH. So yeah, if you reach out, individual attention will be given. And that's why we do individual capstone thesis for individual attention. So that's the goal.
Yeah. Okay, so with that being said, we're a little bit past your lunchtime. We have one more session on Friday that's peer-to-peer, students to students. So if you have the opportunity, please join us in the interim. If you have any questions, we're here for you, and have a wonderful day or night, depending on where you are. And if it is night, thank you for staying up till 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning to be with us. Take care.
If you have any more questions, do not be afraid to reach out.
That's right.
Angela, I'll be more than happy to respond.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.